Hello and welcome to Weekly News Highlights. Let's begin with the keywords that made headlines this week. President Lee Jae-myung laid out his vision and policy priorities for the year ahead, wrapping up his New Year's press conference at the Blue House on Wednesday. He addressed a wide range of issues from housing prices and trade tensions to inter-Korean relations. South Korea's stock market has hit a historic milestone, with the benchmark KOSPI briefly crossing the 5,000 level for the first time ever, marking a major milestone for investors. Gold prices are hitting record highs both globally and here in South Korea, drawing growing investor attention to how best to approach gold strategically. At his New Year's press conference, President Lee Jae-myung reaffirmed his commitment to restoring the 2018 Inter-Korean military agreement while stressing pragmatic diplomacy to manage security risk and stabilize regional relations. Our senior top office correspondent Yoon Jung-min tells us more.
Restoring the 2018 Inter-Korean military agreement will be among the key agenda items for the Lee Jae-myung administration this year to ease tensions between the two Koreas and pursue peaceful coexistence. This was stated by the president during his New Year's press conference on Wednesday from the Blue House.
이 날선 냉랭함이 한 번에 녹지는 않겠지만 북측의 호응을 이끌어내고 한반도의 긴장 완화를 이룰 실현 가능한 조치를 일관되게 지속적으로 추진해 가겠습니다.
He reiterated his role as a pacemaker to facilitate talks between Pyongyang and Washington.
그 속에서 미국의 역할이 매우 중요하다고 생각이 돼요. 미국 트럼프 대통령이 약간 독특한 분이시긴 한데 그 점이 한반도 문제 해결에는 크게 도움이 될 수 있다고 생각됩니다.
When it comes to North Korea's increasing nuclear capabilities, Lee called his three-stage roadmap for denuclearization, which involves freezing, reducing, and dismantling the regime's nuclear program, realistic. On a possible U.S. tariff on semiconductors, President Lee said he was not too concerned, citing the allies' joint fact sheet, stating that Korea will be treated no less favorable than its competitors. The Trump administration recently said it plans to place 100% import taxes on foreign-made chips.
대만과 대한민국의 시장 점유율이 8, 90% 이렇게 될 텐데 100% 관세 올리면 아마 미국의 반도체 물가가 100% 오르는 결과가 오지 않을까 싶어요.
The press conference came after Lee's trips to China and Japan at the start of the year. As to relations with Beijing and Tokyo, the president promised to manage risks that could unfold as conflicts and pursue cooperation for the economy and the future. The president will be fully in charge of state and foreign affairs as he's set to enter his second year in office, focusing on yielding tangible outcomes through his pragmatic diplomacy amid complicated conditions. Yoon Jung-min, Arirang News.
And beyond diplomacy, also covered during the press conference on Wednesday was the economy as well as politics. Our top office correspondent Song Hee-jin reports.
President Lee Jae-myung's New Year's press conference was dominated by questions on the economy and domestic politics. The economy drew particular attention at a time when South Korea has persistently high house prices on the one hand and stock prices hitting fresh records on the other. To cool the housing market, President Lee hinted that his administration's third round of real estate measures is on the way, though he ruled out any plans to raise property holding taxes.
곧 국토부에서 공급 확대 방안을 현실적인 공급 확대 방안을 발표할 겁니다. 근데 우리는 이제 그런 추상적 수치보다는 아주 구체적이고 현실적인 수치를 제시하려고 하죠.
When asked about the benchmark KOSPI's rally now nearing his campaign pledge of 5,000, Lee said South Korean stocks remain undervalued. He cited the removal of political and security risks along with greater transparency in the market as key factors needed to further lift the index. President Lee also highlighted culture as the new engine for South Korea's economic growth.
한국의 문화, 한국의 음식, 한국의 감성 또는 한국의 풍경 이제 문화를 타고 이제 알려지면 그냥 한국 좋아, 한국 물건 좋아, 한국 스타일 좋아, 한국 음식 좋아 이렇게 되는 거예요.
Reaffirming the government's arm's-length principle of supporting the industry without interfering, Lee pledged additional financial support for the arts and cultural sector, calling this year's increased budget of 9.6 trillion won, roughly $6.5 billion, still insufficient. On domestic politics, President Lee made clear that his administration will push ahead with its plan to separate investigations and indictments into two agencies, one under the Interior Ministry and the other under the Justice Ministry, both set to be launched in October.
기소하기 위해서 수사를 하거나 수사를 합리화하기 위해서 기소해가지고 안 되는 거 알면서 가짜 증인 압박해가지고 유죄 만들고 이러면 안 되잖아요. 그럼 분리해야지 당연히.
However, Lee added that the government's proposal should not be seen as final, stressing the need to listen to political parties and the public to design a system that protects victims while preventing abuse of power. His comments follow divided opinions even within the ruling Democratic Party, including over whether prosecutors under the Justice Ministry's indictment body should have the authority to request supplementary investigations. Now, beyond these issues, President Lee also faces a long list of challenges, from local government integration and rising political polarization to a weakening currency. How he handles these tasks while pursuing unity and inclusive growth will be closely watched. 송유진, Arirang News.
President Lee Jae-myung hosted his Italian counterpart at the Blue House, where the two leaders addressed broader economic partnership as well as peace on the Korean Peninsula and beyond. Our Yoon Jung-min has the details.
The talks were centered on bolstering key cooperation, as Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni was welcomed by President Lee Jae-myung at the Blue House.
이탈리아 총리로서는 19년 만에 우리 대한민국을 방문해 주신 것인데 대한민국 국민들 입장에서는 우리 총리님의 방문을 많은 기대감을 가지고
After Lee called Italy an old friend, the sentiment of the bond and friendship was mirrored by the Italian leader.
Geographically, we are very far apart, but Italy and Korea have a lot in common.
The leaders announced a joint statement on Monday, bolstering their strategic partnership in fields such as AI, aerospace, and semiconductors, as well as critical minerals through the multilateral minerals security partnership.
국가의 미래가 달린 과학 분야의 협력이 더욱 확대될 것입니다. 교육 분야의 협력은 양국의 경제 규모와 브랜드 파워에 걸맞는 수준으로 더욱 확대될 것입니다.
We should put more efforts into raising productivity and achieving economic development. Above all, we agreed to do our best for the industry and the economy as a whole.
As to regional and global peace, the joint statement stated their commitment to the complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, as well as Korea's partnership with the G7.
한국과 이탈리아는 국제 무대에서 가치를 공유하며 글로벌 도전에 공동 대응하고 있는 우방 국가입니다. 한반도 긴장 완화를 넘어 세계적인 평화의 가치를 함께 수호해 나갈 것입니다.
Korea is the most important partner for the G7. The war in Ukraine is very dangerous to the security in Europe and the Indo-Pacific. We will continue to cooperate with a new cooperation on a global level.
Other areas of focus were culture and people-to-people exchanges, and the safety of Koreans participating in the upcoming 2026 Olympic Winter Games in Milano-Cortina. Several MOUs were signed on semiconductors, protecting cultural heritage, and jointly tackling disasters. The summit was followed by a luncheon. President Lee was invited to Italy for a state visit within the year, to which he said that his future visit will contribute to expanding the partnership that is mutually beneficial and future-oriented. Yoon Jung-min, Arirang News.
In central Seoul is the Yongsan district where the War Memorial of Korea has seen the number of foreign visitors triple in just 3 years. Our Kim Bo-kyung has this report.
From 170,000 in 2022 to more than 520,000 in 2025. That is more than a threefold increase in the number of foreign visitors to the War Memorial of Korea. Worldwide interest in South Korea's culture has spilled over into K-history, and many foreign officials' visits to the War Museum pushed the increase in numbers.
Last year, about 1,500 VIPs from 105 countries visited the memorial and found it very helpful in learning about Korea. Participant nations in the Korean War also said the exhibition was deeply moving in its powerful presentation of their history.
General Xavier Brunson, the commander of U.S. Forces Korea, recently visited as well, hinting at the possibility of including visits to the War Memorial of Korea in educational programs for U.S. service members stationed here.
It would foster pride and a sense of duty, reaffirm the Korea-U.S. Blood Alliance, and greatly strengthen the morale and mission awareness of the U.S. Forces Korea.
As if to show the boosted interest in Korean history, there were many foreign visitors even in the freezing cold.
So I've been recommended by some colleagues at work to come here. I think it's particularly important to learn about the history of the country.
Many foreign visitors' main interest lies in the Korean War, during which General MacArthur's Incheon landing successfully ended the North's occupation of the South and led to the current division of the Korean Peninsula with DMZ in the middle. Another exhibition room that draws attention is the section explaining how UN member states dispatched troops and medical units to support the Republic of Korea.
Through detailed accounts of the roles played by troops and medical teams from 22 UN member countries, visitors can learn about their own nation's contributions. This helps them feel a deeper connection to Seoul and a shared sense of history.
As global interest in Korea continues to grow, the War Memorial of Korea is emerging as a key destination, serving as a powerful gateway to understanding the country's past. 김보경, Arirang News.
The world's most valuable asset by market cap, gold, is continuing its remarkable rally, but is it still a smart investment when its price has nearly doubled in a year? For more on this, our economics correspondent Park Jun-an is here with us in the studio to tell us more about the rising gold prices and also to suggest options on how to invest wisely in gold here in South Korea. So welcome, Jun-an.
Thanks for having me, Sujin.
So Jun-an, I heard you went to Seoul's Jongno Jewelry District yourself to investigate the rising gold prices. So what are some interesting aspects of your visit that you'd like to share with us today?
Right, Sujin, on Wednesday, I went to Jongno Jewelry District where you could find shops that sell gold and silver. The visit happened to coincide with the purchasing price for 1 ton of gold, surpassing the 1 million Korean won, which is almost a 5-fold increase in the last 6 years and a 20-fold increase in under 25 years. Ton is a traditional Korean unit of weight used for precious metals, with 1 ton of gold equal to 3.75 grams. Let's take a closer look at a gold shop and factory I went to. The price of gold is skyrocketing day by day. And this is not just an upward trend that has been going on in the past few months. Even though the price of gold is rapidly rising, investors are actively buying it, an asset that does not decay, retains value, and is globally accepted.
My mother turned 60 this year, so I came to buy a gold bracelet as a commemorative gift. Gold prices have risen a lot recently, but I think they may continue to climb, so I felt it was better to buy it sooner rather than later.
The sharp rise in gold prices has been particularly evident over the last few years, and especially when U.S. President Donald Trump was inaugurated in January 2025. In the past 5 years, the price of gold has risen from around $1,852 per troy ounce to approximately $4,800. This is a 159.1% increase over that period. And when it comes to Korean won, the increase becomes far more pronounced. Over the same 5-year period, the purchase price of gold jumped from just 271,000 won per ton, or 3.75 grams, to 993,000 won. That marks a 266.4% increase. Although international gold prices have steeply risen, the hike is seen more prominently in Korea, with the dollar value against the Korean won appreciating by more than 33% in those 5 years. Alongside that, buying physical gold in Korea can add 15% to the price due to value-added tax and labor charges. Now, as you can see, this 1 kilogram gold bar I'm holding is worth more than 265 million Korean won, or roughly 180,000 US dollars. The managing director of the Korea Gold Exchange, whose company produces and sells billions of dollars worth of gold and silver annually in Korea, says global uncertainty has driven the steep price hikes.
Global economic instability, ongoing wars, and uncertainty surrounding the U.S. dollar's depreciation have all combined to push gold prices sharply higher, with new issues continuing to emerge, including the situation involving Greenland just yesterday. Uncertainty is intensifying, and that upward trend appears to be gaining further momentum.
Looking ahead, long-term gold prices will be shaped by a mix of inflationary trends, interest rates, and geopolitical risks. Alongside this, global economic uncertainty and monetary policy will also be key factors affecting prices.
And it's because of this global economic uncertainty that many people are considering investing in gold. So for those people, Chinan, do you have any tips on how they might minimize their tax burden?
Sure, Sujin. So it's always good to try to minimize the amount of tax you pay and make investments efficiently. The first option someone might consider is buying physical gold. You buy gold bars or coins directly from reputable shops. A good thing about that is owning something tangible, and it's great for long-term holding or passing on to children or other family members. But the problem is that you might not make a profit out of gold unless its price goes up by at least 15%. That's because of the 10% value-added tax in Korea, plus a labor charge of about 5%, which is already included when you buy gold. The second option is using the domestic KRX gold spot market. You can simply buy tiny amounts of gold through bank apps or your securities account without owning physical gold in your hand. For KRX spot trading, capital gains on price differences are tax-exempt, making it very efficient for most people. On top of that, you do not have to pay additional fees such as the 10% value-added tax unless you decide to withdraw the gold in a physical form. Lastly, there are options using ETFs, both domestic and international. In Korea, products like gold ETFs trade just like stocks on the KOSPI. When you sell a domestic ETF, the profit will be considered as dividend income, so you have to pay a total of 15.4%, including local tax on profits when you sell. An alternative option is using a US ETF like GLD that tracks international gold prices. Gains are combined with other overseas stock profits, and anything earned above 2.5 million won annually faces a 22% capital gains tax.
All right, Chinan, thank you so much for joining me in the studio today.
Always a pleasure, Sujin.
The International Monetary Fund has revised up its forecast for South Korea's economic growth to 1.9% this year. The 0.1 percentage point increase from its October projection reflects expectations of a gradual recovery in the Korean economy. Our Kim Jin-young has more.
The International Monetary Fund has once again raised its growth outlook for South Korea, projecting the economy to expand 1.9% this year. In its January World Economic Outlook released Monday, the IMF said the forecast represents a 0.1 percentage point upgrade from October. The forecast exceeds the 1.8% average for advanced economies, reflecting a steady upward adjustment in South Korea's growth outlook. Experts attribute the revision primarily to robust semiconductor performance.
While some areas of the economy remain sluggish, semiconductor exports have continued to lead growth. Rapid gains in chip prices are likely to drive a significant portion of this year's expansion of exports, with memory semiconductor prices projected to rise by up to 70%.
Global economic growth is projected at 3.3% for both last year and this year, following upward revisions of 0.1 and 0.2 percentage points, respectively. Among major economies, the U.S. is projected to have grown 2.1% last year and grow 2.4% this year, backed by fiscal stimulus and easing monetary conditions. China is seen growing 5% last year and 4.5% this year, aided by government stimulus and easing U.S. tariff pressures. Global inflation is seen on a continued downward path, helped by softer energy prices. The IMF expects global inflation to have eased to 4.1% last year and to 3.8% this year, signaling a gradual deceleration. The IMF warned that the global economy remains vulnerable to downside risks, noting that shortfalls in AI-driven productivity and profit gains could trigger market volatility and spill over into the real economy. Kim Junong, Arirang News.
South Korea's stock market has hit a historical milestone, with the benchmark KOSPI briefly crossing the 5,000 level for the first time in its 70-year history.
South Korea's stock market has reached a historic milestone in an unexpected move that has stunned investors at home and abroad. The benchmark KOSPI climbed above the 5,000 level for the first time in its 70-year history, a mark long seen as a symbolic threshold. According to the Korea Exchange on Thursday, the index closed the session at 4,952.53. While it did not finish above 5,000, the KOSPI opened around 4,980 and surged past the milestone within just 1 minute of the opening bell. This is a blustering run, coming just 3 months after the index crossed 4,000 last October. The upswing came on the back of a strong Wall Street rally overnight. U.S. President Donald Trump backed away from a previously signaled tariff threat against European nations, triggering a sharp jump in U.S. stocks. That positive sentiment quickly spilled over into the Korean market. Leading the surge were heavyweight semiconductor stocks. Shares of Samsung Electronics gained over 4% intraday to hit a record 160,000 won, while SK hynix also climbed to record levels. Attention is turning to what powered this rapid rally and what it signals ahead.
Since the start of the year, upward revisions to semiconductor earnings forecasts have driven chip stocks higher, helping accelerate the KOSPI's rise past the 5,000 mark. With strong earnings momentum intact, further upsides remain possible, though attention is turning to the timing of a peak in the chip cycle and potential volatility from the Trump administration.
Now that the dream of a KOSPI 5,000 era has become a reality, eyes are on how long investor optimism can keep this rally going. Kim Junong, Arirang News.
K-beauty is best known for skincare and cosmetics, but a new trend is putting the focus on scalp care. From head spas to specialized treatments, foreign tourists are increasingly visiting Korea to experience professional scalp care services. Jung Il-im tells us more.
At a hair and beauty salon in Seoul's Myeongdong district, foreign customers receive scalp care services. One customer sits in a chair as a specialist examines her scalp with a micro camera. Close-up shots reveal clogged pores, oil buildup, redness, and even flakes. The customer says she's seeing these for the first time. Step by step, the salon treats her scalp. From deep cleansing, exfoliation, massages, and even a waterfall-like shampoo machine, the process is meticulous. After the session, the specialist once again scans the customer's head with the camera, which shows a visibly healthier scalp.
It was really amazing, and I think clean scalp made it really special because you can see the result at the end of the treatment that you had a dead skin before, and after you don't have it and you can feel refreshed.
Clinics like this say foreign customers have surged in recent years.
Many customers decide to try a scalp spa as soon as they start planning their trip to Korea. Some even book their appointments 1 or 2 months in advance.
Scrolling through TikTok or Instagram, videos of Korean scalp treatments are going viral and are fueling curiosity. Hair salon managers say this was driven by Korean specialties.
Foreign customers really appreciate how thorough the treatments are in Korea, especially the hands-on techniques. Unlike many places abroad, scalp diagnosis and consultation are included in one session.
According to data from KoreaTrip, a Korean travel platform for foreign visitors, spending on K-scalp care services from January to November rose 219% year-on-year in 2025. The boom is being led by visitors from Western countries, who account for 58% of total bookings.
I was just thinking while I was getting the treatment done, I need to text my friends to to get to look into doing something like this, because I feel like in the United States we don't have as much information about taking care of your scalp and hair.
What was once considered as a niche beauty service is becoming a must-try experience for foreign visitors to Korea. As K-beauty continues to evolve, scalp care is emerging as Korea's next global export. 정혜림, Arirang News.
And that brings us to the end of Weekly News Highlights. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your weekend.